Hi, my name is Yousef Khattab, and I'm here today to clear up a few misquotes and misconceptions that people might have about myself and my family. The New World Order is busy pushing secularism and doubt in the minds of the non-thinking masses, both Muslim and non-Muslim alike. For this reason, you'll find that rather than focus on the truly amazing fact that indeed a Jewish family converted to Islam in Palestine and lived in perfect peace with the majority Muslim population and the minority Christian indigenous population of Palestine. Rather, the New World Order focuses on cutting out my statements and replaying them in an order in which I didn't say them, and making me and Islam look as though we're barbaric. A few cases in point. In 2003, I did an interview with the children of Abraham. The producers made it seem as though I support killing children, and how far this is from the truth. Not only does Islam forbid the killing of children, it also protects non-combatants, rabbis, priests, elderly, farmers, and even the trees. I did say, however, and sometimes when these children are killed in Palestine by martyrdom operations, that sometimes the best thing that can happen to these kids is that they do die. Why did I say this? And I did explain it in context, that we believe there are some opinions in Islam that children, well, all opinions agree that children are born Muslim, meaning we believe that they were born submitting to one true God with no partners, no sons, daughters, or board of trustees. And rather, it's the rabbis, the postmen, the teachers, our parents, or whoever that corrupted them. So we believe that pre-puberty youth are in fact Muslims, according to some opinions in Islam. Thus, we believe that if any of the children that died by mistake, by these martyrdom operations, they will be directly into paradise, unlike their Jew parents who will be eternally in the hellfire. So for this reason, this is why I said that sometimes it's the best thing that can happen to them. But they chopped all this out and they didn't put this in the film. And the main point, ladies and gentlemen, is they want to make it seem like they're the civilized and the cultured people, and we Muslims are the barbarians. You'll never see the host talk about how Christians killed more people in one world war alone than Islam could have claimed in over 1400 years. Not even to mention the Crusaders, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the Bay of Tonkin, Vietnam, this lie, where over 55,000 United States soldiers were killed, and over 1 million Vietnamese, Sabra Shatera, Abu Ghraib prison torture, Guantanamo, the concentration camps they have over there. The list goes on and on. We don't even talk about the barbaric acts of, electrocuting prisoners to death in the United States jails. As far as Richard Dawkins, the world-renowned evolutionist, or what some refer to as the bulldog of atheism, okay, it's hard to believe that they call this guy a bulldog because he looks like a very limp-wristed bisexual to me. Allahu A'lam. Anyway, Richard, in The Root of All Evil, an interview that I did with him, what he basically did was he remade the entire interview. Okay, he took parts of what I said, misconstrued them, put them in parts, made it seem like he's asking me this question and I answered with this. And, he would ask me rational, civilized questions, and I would reply with mutated Wahhabi gremlin with an attitude and constipation answers. But the problem with this is, first, Richard didn't come to Palestine with Al-Quds to understand Islam or to study Islam. By his own admission and his crew that was with him, Richard came to the Mufti to discuss evolution. Instead of asking qualified scholars from Al-Azhar or Al-Qura or Dar al-Ulum these questions, Richard chose a Mufti that is a political position appointed by the Palestinian Authority, and a convert to Islam, which was myself, to ask. Richard asked me what I thought about 9/11. I replied, why would an evolutionist start about the Jewish problem in 9/11 2001? Why not 57 years ago, or when the Jews were killing prophets, etc.? I then added, from 1948 till the present, the Jewish enemy entity has destroyed over 417 Arab churches, mosques, villages, and cemeteries. Every village has a cemetery, and they're not there. Richard chose to delete the words church and cemetery. It's very interesting. I don't know if it was Richard or perhaps the Jewish producers that made his documentary. So remember, when the soldiers of Allah come to rip your heads off, don't cry how the Jordanians bombed your cemetery at Mount of Olives in 1967. You destroyed over 417 Arab villages, including all churches, all cemeteries, and all that was within them. I then told Richard that it was his British folk that made this problem, known as quote-unquote Israel. So when he arrogantly asked me how Muslims would solve this Jewish problem in Palestine, as an evolutionist, he should have blamed the blame on Britain, not shift the burden of the Jewish cancer on us. I told him it was the USA and the UK that was responsible for the Jews being in Palestine today. And he, as an evolutionist, he should look this up and discover ways to get them out, or to take them back to Europe, or take them back to their indigenous lands if possible. So I just want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that Islam is for everybody. Islam is not to be forced on people. Islam does not allow killing civilians, etc., etc. That is not the goal. That is not the aim. It is not permissible in Islam. We ask you to take the time to read Islam. There's many good websites perhaps you could take some knowledge from. Try www.islamway.com. There's www.islamqa.com, and countless others, www.sultan.org, and the list goes on and on. Islam is your birthright, and Islam is the answer to all of society's problems, and it is the cure, as can be seen by my family, who now live inside a Muslim land, and who lived in Palestine, in the heart of the Muslim population there, with no problems. So, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned. Inshallah ta'ala, God willing, I hope to do more broadcasts soon. Fi aman Allah to the Muslimin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to our brothers and sisters in humanity, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this, and have a great day. Nice talking to you all.